So what am I hoping to accomplish with Shade Tree Pastor? What am I hoping to accomplish with this ministry? Well, to answer that, I have to give you a little bit of background. The church I was at before, the church that I was at for nearly 13 years, when we hit the pandemic, we had already been streaming some of our services. So we didn't have to make a lot of changes to get through the pandemic, and we made it through okay. But after the pandemic, we were faced with a choice. As people were beginning to return to the building, to return to church, we had to ask ourselves this question. Do we want to put our energy into getting people back into the building, or do we want to embrace this new aspect of online ministry? I chose to embrace it. While of course we did start having in-person services again, we continued to stream all of our services. What's more, we did things to make them interactive. One of the last things I wanted then or now is that when we do our Sunday morning live stream, when we're doing our worship or whatever you want to call it, I didn't want people to feel like they were just watching a show. I wanted them to feel like they were a part of that church. I wanted them to feel like they were worshiping along with us. And so we took some steps to make it interactive and to help that to happen. First, we instituted an online pastor of the day. That online pastor would be there to interact with people in the live chat on both YouTube and Facebook, to greet people, to answer questions, all that kind of stuff. Then we also started asking questions during our messages, or sermons if you want to call them that. And we had a number they could text their answers into. That online pastor would receive their answers and then pass them on to me, and I'd actually be able to talk about them live in the sermon and incorporate them into my message. I had a lot of other plans as well, a lot of other ways to capture that online audience. Now I know not everyone approves of online worship. And in fact, I'm not even sure I'm going to call what we do worship. That's why for now, I'm just calling it a ministry and not a church. But I do realize one thing. What I found was that many of the people that worshiped online did so for one of two reasons. Either they had some kind of medical or behavioral issue that kept them at home. Some people were honestly still afraid of the COVID virus and wanted to stay home because of that. Some people had kids with sensory issues or other issues that made it difficult for them to get to church. And so they would stay home and worship online with us. But there was also a second contingent. Now, I know some of you may be thinking that people were just lazy, that they didn't want to get up and go to church, that they wanted to just be able to sit at home in their pajamas. And that is certainly true, they did. But I don't call that laziness. I call that restfulness. One of the things we learned from Scripture is that the Sabbath was supposed to be a day of rest. And yet the modern church-going experience is often anything but restful. You gotta get up early. After already getting up early to do your job the whole rest of the week, now you gotta get up early on your weekend to go to church. You gotta wrangle the kids into the car. You gotta get them out the door. And how many times have we found ourselves doing that and getting in arguments and getting angry and getting frustrated? That is not the Sabbath that God intended. I think in this modern age, online ministry, particularly what we do on Sunday mornings, is bringing back that sense of rest to the Sabbath. That is one of the things I want to continue here at Shade Tree Pastor. We are going to do a Sunday morning live stream every Sunday. You can call it church if you want. There will be some prayer. There will be some worship. There will be a message. And we can find that Sabbath rest together. But that's not all I'm hoping to do here. This isn't just about Sunday mornings. You see, I also want to build a community. More and more people are building online communities, and more of those online communities are having a real impact on their physical communities and the world around them. And I hope for us to be able to do that too. I hope as this ministry grows, we maybe are able to have some in-person gatherings from time to time. I hope as this ministry grows, we're able to support other nonprofits in our local communities. I hope as this ministry grows, we're able to have a real impact on the world around us. So I hope you join us on this journey as we grow this ministry together and create this community together. Stay tuned for the next video where I'm going to talk about kind of a newer idea around welcoming. Who is welcome? Who are we trying to reach? Those kind of questions. Hope you join us for that next video.